chat box. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. So, Olaronke, you can begin, ma.
All right, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me clearly? Good evening, ma'am. This is Adeyanju. Welcome, ma'am. Good evening, leaders. Thank you for joining. So I'll be reading Adeyanju's profile briefly. So while I was going through it, I saw that it is packed. So I sent the full profile to the group, to the Leaders Sport group, but then I'm just going to read some parts of it, please, for time. Okay. Adeyanju Olomola is a certified professional coach working and supporting purpose-driven individuals and organizations to discover what success means to them and emerge anchors and pathways to growth. Her niche is leadership and organizational coaching. In addition to coaching, she designs and supports learning and development programs within organizations through training and blended learning facilitation techniques. She's a signatory to the Principles for Learning by the International Finance Corporation, a World Bank group. A member of the International Coaching Federation, she holds the Association Certified Coach ACC credential and currently on the path of Professional Certified Coach credential. Immediate past president of ICF Nigerian chapter, a certified John Mathon Intelligence Leadership Executive Coach, and extended DISC, and Think's accredited consultant, a narrative coach, enhanced practitioner, and a team coaching foundation certified coach. She has 600 plus clients coaching hours and has coached leaders in mid to senior management levels across multiple industries in both private and public sectors: telecommunications, FMCG, oil and gas, financial services, agriculture, and fintech. She leads group coaching sessions through her firm's Professionals in Motion platform. With an unwavering belief in the enormous potential within every individual, Adeyanju partners with her clients as they are transformed in form and function. This is powerful, like I said before I started. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining us today. Leaders Sport, please make welcome Mrs. Adeyanju. I'm not sure if I pronounced the surname very well, so Ma, please, you can correct me. Please, Leaders Sport, let's welcome Mrs. Adeyanju in the chat box. Just like give her a clapping ovation, even though we can't stand up. Ma, the floor is yours now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Olaronke, and thank you so much, Kingsley, for the invitation. Really happy to be here. I'm sorry I couldn't join. I had to request for a postponement, but happy to be here and happy to be spending the evening with you all. All right, one request that I would ask is that we drop the ma. And also, Olaronke, when you're addressing me, Adeyanju is fine, no ma. So anymore, all the mass that I'm seeing in the chat box, let's end it. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to be talking about the essence of transformational leadership today. So if you joined wanting to listen and just hear from me, I'm sorry I'm going to disappoint you because this is going to be very interactive. All right. How many minutes do I have? It's 7:05, Aderonke. Olaronke, sorry.
I think between 60 to 90 minutes.
Okay, I'm sure we will be done before then. I guess I may be the only things, I may be the one standing in between people and their dinner and favorite programs they want to watch tonight. Anyways, so before we start, I just want to confirm that everyone, your device obviously is internet accessible, because I'm going to send you, you're going to see a website that you will go to and, you know, put in a code and answer a question. So just to know that, you know, you'll go over to a website whilst we're, you know, talking, and I'll give you time, like, you know, 2 to 3 minutes to do that. All right, so we ready? I will share my screen because I will be using slides as an aid, and we will start. I trust that you can see my screen, and I'll rely on you, Olaronke, as well, you know, in terms of feedback, especially when I ask questions, feedback from the audience. I hope we are also ready to use the breakout rooms.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Excellent. I'm going to find you for the man. Bam, oh, bam. All right, excellent. Okay, so we will be talking about transformational leadership this evening, and by way of agenda, in terms of what I hope to cover, and we're going to introduce ourselves, because I know practically just 2 people on this platform. So I'd like to get to know everyone, and also, you know, amongst yourself, those who don't know each other, that we get to know ourselves. We'll do some introductions. We'll talk a bit about what transformational leadership is. And like I said, it's going to be interactive. We both are going to collectively you know, discuss this. We'll look at some examples of transformational leaders and what makes them transformational. Then we'll look at what is our role in this, especially on our continent, and what does life, you know, going forward, what does it mean for us? All right. So by way of introductions, 3 things I just want to know about you, that I want you to share about yourself: your name, where you're calling or dialing in from, and one interesting or a fun fact about you. So like I said, 3 things: your name, where you're joining us from, and one fun fact about you. So I'll kick the ball rolling. My name is Adeyanju Olomola. I'm dialing in from the United Communities of Lekki, Lagos State. And an interesting fact about me is I love apple juice. I enjoy apple pies or anything that is made from apples, but I cannot eat an apple. I don't eat apples. So I'm going to stop share so I can see faces a bit and also see what is in the chat box. So like I said, your name, fingers, let's name, where you're dialing in from, and an interesting fact about you. And if anyone wants to unmute and share, happy. Thank you, Kingsley. He just likes beans, but can eat rice all day. Great. I will leave this on for just about a minute or 2 before we move on. Oyindamola Falabi, the epic brown roof city. Oh my, Ibadan, I miss Ibadan. I actually scored my A-levels and university was in Ibadan. Oyindamola likes talking. Michael from Lagos loves food. Great. Come on. I hope we just didn't leave our devices on and we went to do something else. Esther Latunji. Esther, is your camera on? I want to see your face. Esther, let's see the smile. Who else? We have, excluding Olaronke, Kingsley and I, there's 27 people on the call, and only 5 people have. Okay, all right, Esther, no problem. Ifunaya Eze joining in from Lagos, music concert to invisible people in your compound. I hope the music is nice. Ishola, a guy with multiple skills. And what are those skills? So we know whether it's interesting. Aziz joining in from Ibadan. Oh, wow. You don't eat okeles. Wow. With all the lovely amala joints in Ibadan, no straight and them. Agaja Olubimi dialing in from Ibadan. What is the soft life? Oh, wow. Oshopo Olanrewaju. You can listen to music 24/7. Wow. Okay, Funaya. All right, say so. A fellow bread lover. Thank you, Shofela from Abeokuta. She doesn't get tired of eating bread. Neither do I. Oh, wow. Basirat. Interesting. And Sulia loves training in on clothes. Chelsea fan. I love football. I'm actually a conflicted football fan. I support Real Madrid, that's my team. I'm an Arsenal fan by marriage, and by sympathy, I support Man United because my kids are Man United fans. All right, excellent. Hi, Tina, thank you. Joining in from Russia. You're never late. Yes, great. And Husman, wow, Husman, this is very interesting. Staying in the dark. Excellent. Great. Okay, so let me go back. Thank you all for sharing. Fantastic. So when you hear those two words, transformational leadership, what comes to mind? So I'd like you to go to this website and put in this code 85347028 and share what you think. So you can't do sentences, or you can do phrases, but words, preferably words. Just say what you think transformational leadership in 1 or 2 words. I think you have 3 entries per person. So go to Mentimeter and use the code 8534. So I will leave this for about 4 minutes so that we can put in what transformational leadership is, what you think it is, what you know that it is, but using words, at best phrases, not more than 2 words. Are we good? Mentimeter.com. The code is 8534. I'll just leave this on for a minute. I actually want to put it in the chat box as well so that you can, 1 second, let me just put it in the chat box so that people can also have access to that. There you go. So the question we're answering is, what is transformational leadership? But you need to go to this site, www.menti.com, and type in this code 85347028. I have put it in the chat box so you can access it as well. So I am going to stop share at this time, and I'll give us 2 minutes to just type in what we think transformational leadership is all about. So let me just head to the, thank you. I see people are answering already. Keep it coming. Yeah, thank you. There's 35 of us here. 36. So we should see more than what we are. So I'll give us 2 more minutes to type in. The website is in the chat box and the code as well is in there. Let's keep it going. What is transformational leadership to you? Using words. You can use a phrase, 3 words, or just put in, words, yeah? All right. So let's see what, yep, keep it coming. 2 more minutes. And yes, thank you. Fantastic. Don't worry, I'm gonna, show what we have and we will talk about it. All right. Keep it coming. So we're answering the question, what is transformational leadership? Using a word, words or phrases. The website to go to is in the chat box and the code that you have to input so that you can put in your answers. Okay. Final 60 seconds. Any more words, any more definitions? All right, I am going to stop that and so that we can see what it is that we've come up with. So I'm just going to export it and share it. So 20 people actually participated. So let's see. I'm just downloading it and I'm going to put it so we can see. Oh, so sorry. Someone's network is not making it, but you can either type in the chat box. You can type in the chat box what it is, what your definition is. So this is what we have come up with. And thank you all for everyone who's participated. Change maker. A transformational leader is an innovative leader. Excellence, leadership that changes. I see the word change again. Impactful, inspiration, change and policy, leadership that innovates, leadership that improves the people, makes better, focus, influencing change, positive change, making a difference, service, empowerment, different, intention to inspire, pardon me, creativity, a change-oriented leader, problem solver, excellent, individual consideration, yes, exemplary, vision, great, fantastic. Thank you so much for everyone who participated in that. So back to our discourse and what it is that, we were talking about, what transformational leadership is all about. So let me just, sorry, I'm going to be weaving in and out of my screen. Yeah, great. So in terms of definition, and there are so many definitions, but I really love this one. And it defined, even though it was really speaking from the context of an organization, but hey, an organization is like a microcosm of, the entire or a larger society. So it defines transformational leadership as a leadership approach that causes change in individuals and social systems. A leadership approach that causes change in individuals and social systems. So if I were to extrapolate, if you have, transformational leadership, in its true form, the results will be change in individuals and the social systems, where that transformational leadership is operating. And basically it says in its ideal form, it creates valuable and positive change in the followers with the end goal of developing followers into leaders. And this is from Langton Edu. So, still, diving deeper into that, and you find that there are by and large, two major approaches to leadership: the transactional leadership and the transformational leadership, which is what we are looking at, especially from an African context, and I dare say even on the global front. So when you have transactional leadership, just as the word says, it is transactional. I gave this, or I take this, you give this. It's just transactional. It also is a narrow view, because you're really looking at just that person or that system or that entity that is in front of you that you want to take something from or give something to, provided that exchange, occurs. Also, in terms of thinking, it is short term. You're not really looking at the future. What is the impact of the things that you do as a leader on the people that you're leading, or even the larger society, as a whole? What is the impact beyond your leadership term? What is the impact, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line? And you find that, when one is operating in a transactional mode, the focus is what you can get, and how best you can even get more for yourself. So self-promotion comes to the fore, and you begin to have leaders who are controlling. I'm not going to go into all that destructive leadership profile. I think we've seen enough of it around us in Africa and even the world. So this is not just peculiar to our continent, but it happens all over. And when you have transformational leadership, there's so many things that characterizes it. Remember the definition that we had, that is a leadership approach that causes change in individuals and social systems. So one of the things, or a number of things, characterizes transformational leadership. It is the ability of the leader to be able to articulate and drive a compelling and energizing vision. The vision is so compelling, and it's as if it has a life force on its own, and it lasts beyond when that vision was first created or shared. You find that the vision has a life of its own, and it is going on from year on year, decade upon decade, and it's just gathering momentum. And even when the leader that started it has passed on, it's still living on, because that vision is both compelling and energizing. It also provides an inspiring mission, and it gives identity. One of the things that you see about nations that have benefited from transformational leadership is a sense of identity. Every member of that country, of that nation, has. They are proud to be who they are. And it is as a result, of the vision that has been created or cast, by the leaders that went on before. It also creates, and I really like, the comments, the definitions that we had. We had change, we had impact that kept recurring in some of the things that you said. It creates significant change in lives. And it also enlists the followers. It enlists the general populace as change agents. Everyone believes that they can bring about change, even in their locality. So nobody's waiting, for the central government to effect change where they are, because they have keyed into that vision, and they believe that, as individuals, the impact they make is a lot, and it is also worth it. And they can see the effect of the impact, that they're making, especially in their locality. At times, some of us, we think that, oh, there's nothing I can do, whatever I do, it's not even a drop in the ocean. It doesn't count, but it does count. Also, transformational leadership redesigns perceptions and values. One thing that you will see in, nations or countries that, just like I said, have benefited from transformational leadership is a sense of purpose that, drives everything that they do as a nation. There are like a set of values that, that the people in the nation that they abide by, or that they hold true, for themselves. Transformational leadership, or TL, so that I'm not rolling my tongue, transformational leadership also changes expectations and aspiration. So you're moving from a place where, perhaps, as a nation, but you have gone through some really bad times. What the leader does, especially with the articulation of the vision, is begins to form the expectations of the people, and people begin to aspire both individually and collectively to be much more than they were or they are at the moment, because just like we said, that energizing and compelling vision has so much energy in it that expectations and aspirations individually and collectively begins to change. It also works towards the collective good. And this is one of the clear-cut differences between transactional leadership and transformational leadership. It is not for me, myself, and I, my family and I, us and no more. It is for the collective good. As a leader, you are not looking at just your immediate environment, your family, whether it's nuclear and extended. No, it is for the collective good. Take our nation, Nigeria, 200 million plus. Transformational leadership thinks of every single person that makes up this 200 million plus in Nigeria. And just like, the words that we shared earlier, it's also about impact, social and economic impact. It is about growth, superior growth, repeated growth, that keeps recurring. And it ticks all the boxes when it comes to the indices of development. It focuses not just on certain areas, but it's looking at all the indices of development. We all know what the indices of development are. The UN, development targets, access to education, access to clean water, all those various things that we aspire to as nations. There will be measurable growth when transformational leadership is in effect on all these indices of development. Long-term focus. A transformational leader is not thinking about just that first term that they have or the 2 terms, but they have certain structures that would outlive them. It's about legacy. It's about the leader is thinking of 30, 40, 50 years down the line, and they have set that vision that would enable the entire nation, the entire populace to key into it and begin to, propel them towards the actualization of that vision. I wish, I could have, I was actually debating, sharing a short video, but I would ask you, in your spare time to look at nations that have been transformed in this particular, in this century. Singapore is an example of such nations that have embarked upon change and impact. And this was, brought about by one man that just changed the course of that nation over a period of time. Singapore is smaller than the city of London. It is what you call a city-state. So Singapore is all, as a country, that's all it is, Singapore. and maybe it's just from, adjoining villages. It is a small town, but honestly, the development that has gone on in that place, you really want to wonder what it was like. It's as if, this country was just birthed and dumped as it is right now. Such a beautiful nation. In terms of, the indices of development, I enjoin you, to take a look and, to really study this country. It is a beautiful country. I had the opportunity to visit in 2018, and it's one of those places that you wish, you could just stay and not go back, to your country. Beautiful, clean, nation. There are fines for things that you consider mundane. Chewing gum. You chew gum on the bus in public, there are fines. It's just $500. And multiply that by our current day Nigerian, naira, 700. You realize that just to chew gum, how much did you buy the gum that you're going to pay $500? But it's just about, that collective responsibility that every Singaporean has towards building their nation and making it a sustainable nation, not just for themselves, but for their children and grandchildren and, for generations, yet unborn. So that, in a nutshell, is what transformational leadership is all about. That is me on the right, my right, and maybe your left, depending on how you're viewing it. And I was looking for an example of someone that I felt embodied transformational leadership, even though I was thinking from an organizational perspective, but I have seen her, take it from from the organization to her local community. The lady to my right or to my left, depending on how you look at it, is Mrs. Comfort Endem. She was my boss, my mentor, and a lifelong cheerleader. I worked with her at the Nigerian Bottling Company years ago, and there was a particular act, that something that she did that really stuck with me all these years. NBC was launching a mega plant in Edo State, Benin. I think it was in 2007 or thereabout, and we had the vice president. Then it was Atiku Abubakar, who represented the president to come and open the plant. And, they had gone through all the speeches. Of course, as the most senior person in that place, the vice president was the last person to speak. And we wanted, to have a photo opportunity of him, taking a bottle of Coke fresh from the lines and, either drinking it, opening it, drinking it, sipping, and, we could take that, for the newspapers. And you could hear that, we could see that, he was rounding up his speech, and the ushers who were supposed to have gone up to serve him were nowhere to be found, literally nowhere to be found. And she turned to me and said, "Yonju, where are the ushers? Where are the drinks? We need the drinks." And I was turning to go look for the ushers, and there was a cooler of drinks just by the podium, by the stage. She just said, "Yonju, grab a handle." And there she was in, a red skirt suit and heels like this. She just grabbed the cooler, and we were marching up, to the podium to go and give it. So the SSS, took the drinks from us and they served, the vice president. We got our picture. But for me, what she exemplified that day, there are some people who will not, pick up or do menial things just because they are leaders. For her, something needed to be done, and she was more than willing, to actually do it by herself. If she was able to carry the cooler by herself, she would not have even asked me to grab the other handle. So, extrapolating that, she's retired now, she's Ghanaian, she was married to a Nigerian, she's back home in Ghana now. She runs an NGO that focuses on, women in rural areas, providing them with sources of livelihood. And this is something that she's been doing for decades since she retired in 2000 and when was it now? I think it was 2008 or thereabout. So, the plant was opened in 2004. So she retired in 2005. I took over the function after she left. It just goes to show when people don't care about, their titles and they want to work for the common good, you begin to see all these, attributes or traits of transformational leadership in them. I love this quote by Craig Groeschel. It says, "You will never be a leader others love to follow if you're first not a leader that loves people." And if you begin to look at, countries where you have leadership that has transformed the society, you find a genuine love for people in those leaders. I'll leave this, for a second more, just for it to sink in, We need to love people. That is how you will be concerned about what is happening or what needs to happen, in our nation, in our society, or in our communities. All right, so we are going to, I think we're doing very well for time. We are going to breakout rooms. And basically, what I would like you to discuss in your breakout rooms for about 12 minutes, what I would like you to discuss in your breakout rooms are examples of leaders that are transformational, examples of global and African transformational leaders, the qualities that these leaders possessed and what they did. How did they impact or change their societies or their nations? Are we clear? Olaronke, are you ready? Yes, let me
Okay.
I will put it in the chat box. I'm going to put that in the chat box so that you know what it is that we are. Yeah. So what we're doing is looking at transformational leaders globally and in Africa. You'll come up with examples, the qualities these leaders possess, and what they did in their societies that impacted their societies or changed, their societies. And I ask that each group will nominate someone who's going to, share what you discussed and talk to us about those global or African leaders that you discussed. So over to you, Olaronke, in terms of, the breakout rooms. So I will be exempt. I think both of us will be exempt from the breakout rooms, but we should be able to go in and just check in on people.
All right. All right, ma'am.
So you can set the timer for 12 minutes because the time will go so fast. Thank you so much for all those who've joined us from all over Africa. I see someone from Samuel from Uganda. Nadege Bumu, I don't want to, mess up your name, from Togo. Thank you. And of course, my people from Lagos, from Ibadan, from Oshobo, and Tina also from Russia. Thank you so, so much. So while we wait for Aderonke to put us in the breakout rooms, we're going to be discussing in our breakout rooms for about 12 minutes, examples of transformational leaders, whether global or African leaders. What are the qualities these leaders possess, and what did they do that transformed their nations or their communities? And one person from each group would discuss, we'll share for just about 90 seconds. So switch
Okay.
short and
Okay.
sharp.
We are set. We are set. Should I open the rooms?
Yes, please. Open the
Okay.
rooms and let people, assign the rooms to people. Thank you.
Okay, leaders, you get a notification on your screen. Just join the rooms.
All right, yes, people are going. We still have some people who have not joined rooms. Room 1 has just 3 people, so if you can move more people to room 1. We still have people who haven't joined the rooms. There's still 6 people. Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, is it that some people haven't joined the rooms that they've been assigned to? Yeah. For Erickson, Esther, and Raimat, were you not able to join any room? Hello, Esther Bobade and Erickson Bello, Raimat Lawal, were you not able to join a room? Hello, Erickson.
Okay, can you hear me? I should
Yes, I
end it.
can.
Okay, I should remove everyone by 8, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. So is everyone back? Is everyone back? All right. Okay, so we had 5 rooms, rooms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will start with room 5 and work my way down to room 1. So you're getting prepared. Room 5, can your spokesperson unmute? You have 2 minutes. And I will be using a timer. 2 minutes. Please go ahead. Who is speaking for room 5? Is it you, Precious? It appears you're speaking, but I can't hear you. Who is speaking for room 5? Room 5, 1 minute. Okay.
Precious is okay.
Yes,
Hello?
she's talking, but we can't hear her. I think there's something with her. So can someone else from room 5 please take on? Otherwise, we will move to room 4.
All right, man. So let me come in.
Yeah.
So in room 5, we talked about the definition of transformational leadership, and some of the keywords we're able to come up with is a transformational leader is actually more important in a project or in a place where disruption is important, where, let's say, for instance, in an industry or in a company, that's the kind of product they are trying to come up with has never been done before. It's something new, and people kind of say that it's not possible. Or it's not. There's no template for it. That team particularly need a transformational leader to be able to move them to where they're going. And we also, another key word for us is we talk about transformational leader, someone that inspires the team. So he's much more an inspirational person that could make the team see that believe in themselves and be able to work on the project that is at hand. And so examples that we're able to come up with, number one, the one that's about 2 of us mentioned on the group is Nelson Mandela. That is what he's been able to do in Africa and the way he tried to take up what what it is, which is pushing out Africa as not just something that people look down on, and the way he was able to take it up. And if you watch his speeches and all of that, you realize that he's truly preaching peace and progress. So it's not unlike, we have several ways
10
people do
seconds.
activism. All right.
Go
There are
on.
several ways people do activism, but his own is different, is an element of hope. And then we also talk about Jeff Bezos, and thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Well, I can't hear you, ma'am.
Oops, sorry. Thanks, room 5. Room 4. Yes. Room 4. You've got 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Apologies for the background noise. So for my team, we said a lot of things, and I would like to start with the fact that we agree that transformational leaders are not just people that we know by name, talking about the most renowned people, talking about the types of the Mandelas and the likes. Transformational leaders can just be people within your local environment, people that you know that have given themselves, that sacrificed themselves to be impactful and to be influential wherever they find themselves. So I would like to start with that, and then we continue to list a lot of leaders, and our topic was Nelson Mandela, but the break room, the room 5 already said that. So So I'm going to just mention the rest that we mentioned. We had Sheyi Makinde, we had Mahatma Gandhi, we had Obafemi Awolowo, and talking about the fact that leaders does not have to be someone renowned. We also mentioned the person of Kisli Chukwuma. So yes, those are our topics, and we can see from the list that each and every one of these people are people that were able to go beyond themselves to impact their community, to impact the lives of those around them, and to just be something, to live for something other than themselves. And that is the concept that we agree with. So thank you, and I don't want to overshoot my time. Thank you for listening.
You were right on time, Olamide. Thank you for that. Room 3.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening,
My name is
sir.
Habib Sadiq, and we're able to discuss. Good evening, ma. My name is Habib Sadiq. I'm representing Group 3, and we're able to discuss among ourselves for the transformational leader, and we agree that the transformational leader is a change maker that motivates people to grow, and they motivate people to grow and to be led. It entails meeting colleagues' demand, knowing their needs and what they required, and not just what they required, and leading by examples. Then when we gave an example, when we discuss among ourselves, we agree that in Africa, when we talk of a transformational leader, we all give example of Nelson Mandela because of the work he did in Africa, especially fighting for apartheid policies. Because in South Africa, there was a discrimination between the blacks and the whites. So he was the social reformer who fought for apartheid policy till the blacks and the white had equal opportunities in South Africa. Then coming to Africa, then we agreed that Tony Elumelu is an example of a transformational leader because he motivates his employees. At the end of every month, he has meeting with each and every of his employees to know their needs and their demands. Then going further again, we agreed that Paul Kagame of Rwanda too is a transformational leader because he has been at the forefront championing a uniform currency for Africa. So those are the things we discussed in our group. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Great, Habib. Well done to group 3. All the groups have spoken so far. Room 2.
Okay, good evening, ma. Good evening, everyone. So for room 2, we went straight into giving examples of transformational leaders in Africa and globally. And first, room 5 had mentioned Nelson Mandela. He fought for the freedom of the blacks in South Africa and the development of South Africa from their colonial masters. He also, one of the quality that he exhibited there was he was selfless. He did not think of the inconvenience of himself or the troubles he was facing, but he saw in the long run that this fight was going to bring in something better for the citizens of South Africa. Okay, and we also mentioned Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. He was very instrumental in fighting for the independence of Ghana. He was patriotic. That was a quality that we mentioned. It was patriotic. As we know, he was a president in Ghana too. So he was patriotic in his fight. He fought for the independence of Ghana. Then also we talked about Dora Akunyili of NAFDAC. In Nigeria, we know what she did. She fought for the for selling of fake drugs. She was against it to the core. Everybody knew what she stood for. She stood for the right thing, even when others were not standing with her. She knew that this was detrimental to the health of others, and she took the stand against the sale of fake drugs. And we know that NAFDAC is what it is today, particularly for what she stood for when she was still a leader of NAFDAC. And finally, Martin Luther King. We know that it was very instrumental in the fight for the blacks in America, against racism against the blacks in America. So we saw that it was relentless. It was relentless. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deborah. And thank you to room 2. Last but not, definitely not the least, room one. Who is speaking for room one?
Okay, I think I will just speak for them because I joined in and I found that a lot of them could not, yeah, they are not in the right position to speak up. So I'll just speak for them. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity. So we went straight to giving examples, and we gave two examples. We talked about Barack Obama, and then we talked about Dora Akunyili. And for Barack Obama, we mentioned how that his leadership style was very admirable, and the fact that he was from a minority group, but he didn't let that affect his leadership, and he was able to lead people well with empathy, and he was approachable. And then Dora Akunyili, I particularly love her because of her sense of identity and patriotism. She had a very powerful sense of integrity also. Like she was not going to drop down on her value. And like what I don't know, I'm not sure who said it, who just talked last. She mentioned how that NAFDAC is what it is today because of what Dora has done. And I think that is transformational because till today we still talk about her and we admire her work. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Great, thank you, Olaronke, and thank you. Well done to all the rooms and the spokespersons. Thank you. So this, I'm not doing an assessment, but I just wanted to just offer some observations. Rooms 5, I felt you didn't get the brief because you were going into definition, and we wanted you to just, talk about transformational leaders, examples, and what have you. 4 spoke a bit also. You used half of your time to define, and, before you, mentioned a few things. 3 defined a bit, but then you then dove straight into, examples. Rooms 2 and 1 straight to the point. And you remember you had just 2 minutes, and I felt the brief was clear. If you're not clear, feel free to ask, questions. I would add as a quality of a transformational leader that you know that you don't know everything, and you're not shy to ask questions. We have an adage, in my language in Yoruba, that the person who asks for directions does not get lost. So if you're not clear about something, please speak up and ask. So I'll go back again to sharing my screen. And as we wrap up this evening, and incidentally, as much as I did not want to use the obvious person in Africa, Madiba, Nelson Mandela, but he kind of like just ticked all the boxes. And this is something that everyone that has spoken about him has said. That is something, a quality, or these are the qualities of transformational leaders, that they realize that one person can be the change that is needed in their communities, in their localities, that one person can set the fire for change. One person can be a catalyst for change. He fought for a cause and he fought for his country. I mean, Madiba's life was an example of courage, dedication, and sacrifice. How many of us here, I know I can't, go to prison for not just 1 year, 2 years, not 3 years, not 4 years, not 10, not 20, 26 or 27. And honestly, if you have never been to South Africa, or you've been to South Africa and you've never visited, the prison where Madiba was kept, you need to. You can't be in that place and still come out sane. How he did it, was just nothing short of exemplary, and nothing short of, that vision that he held on to of South Africa being a land that is free, whether you're Black or white, and everybody's equal. And one other thing, that he did, it wasn't so much of growing, the country. It wasn't so much of emancipating, his nation or the people in his nation. He actually beamed the light on his country. One of the things, that he did during his time, after he became, he was released from prison, became, the first Black president in South Africa, was to shine the light on the plight of HIV/AIDS. South Africa's numbers was off the charts. It was almost like 1 in, I think, 4 or 6 people, men, people had HIV/AIDS, and he was able to draw attention to the plight of people living with HIV/AIDS in, South Africa. And he basically, projected South Africa to the world. For me, if there was one particular thing that really, really resonated, was the values that he lived by. Ubuntu is, a concept in South Africa that talks about the oneness and the unity that, that is like a cord in each one of us. I am because you are is literally, the translation of what, Ubuntu is. And it's that shared value that he lived and he was able to project, to the world. One of the Nobel Peace Prize winners in his time, of all time, he lived and embodied values. And remember, we were talking about transformational leaders, qualities of transformational leaders earlier. One of the defining attributes of transformational leaders is the values that they hold there, that they're able to, either it's the national values that perhaps have been long forgotten, and they're able to like bring it to the fore, and it becomes what everybody signs up to. Forget about, you can say all sorts of things about America, but if there is something that I respect about the American nation, it's their value for life. As a nation, the entire nation will rise up for one American. Whether the person, is low, poor, or what have you, they rise up. So long as that person is an American, the entire nation rises up for that single person. That really, really, never ceases to amaze me, the lengths that the nation will go for just to rescue or to come to the aid of one of its citizens. So it talks to the values, that they hold dear, regardless of whatever it is that we're going to say. An American still values, let's not, look at all the gun violence and the things that is going on, but they're still holding on to, to the values of not anyone being left behind, and the nation rising up, for its citizens. So the same way, Nelson Mandela was able to instill values that the nation, South Africa as a nation had, really bringing it to the fore. So he perhaps, will probably be one of the poster, if not the poster picture of what a transformational leader is able to do. And his name is not one that is going to be forgotten. You will still find him being talked about for centuries to come. And it's because of, the foundation that he has laid that others are able to stand upon that, now. So what is our role? I was going to build this up, and you've noticed, and I feel that, learning is great when it's shared, when everybody is talking, and, we can learn from one another. As leaders and as followers, what are our roles? At the moment, we're both leaders and followers in our own rights, in whatever space that we're in. For me, I felt that the first thing as a leader, on who wants to be transformational, the first thing to do is to be able to articulate a compelling, energizing, and actionable vision. And the converse, on the part of the followers is that involvement. So it's one thing for the leader to have that vision. It's another thing, for us to be part of that vision, realizing that one person alone cannot do it. Madiba did not do it alone by himself, even though he cast, that vision, and it saw him through the years in prison, but he still required the help, and they enlisted the help of, South Africans rising up and demanding for freedom and an end to apartheid. So what do you think are the roles of leaders and followers? Before we answer the question that I put in red. And please feel free to use the chat box or unmute should you want to speak. What is your role as a transformational leader? What is your role as a follower in Africa today? And I can't remember who said it in one of the groups, talking about unknown people. Yes, I think it was room 4, that we do not have to be known to, Kingsley, I see your hand, we don't have to be known, to be transformational. We all have people in our hometowns who were transformational. And you can imagine if we are able to aggregate that or have one person who is driving, the transformation in our localities, in our nation. Yes, go ahead, Kingsley.
Okay, thank you very much. For me, it's been an amazing session and very eye-opening. Let me confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Okay, for me, I think the challenge now for us is to go back to first be transformational leaders in our communities, because in the 21st century, I have noticed and I've observed young leaders wanting to lead on a global stage, ignoring their communities first. We understand that we first have to lead ourselves, that's self-leadership, then extend this leadership to our immediate community. I mean, if you're saying you're a transformational leader and it's not affecting your family, it's not affecting your close friends, if it's not impacting those who share a common space with you, I think we need to do better. So I think this is now the challenge for us to go back to our various communities. Let's the transformation that you've experienced, let it also transform others. From your community, you can start building to a global stage, but it first starts locally before it gets global.
Great. Thank you. So Kingsley says, as leaders, start local. Who else? Thank you, Esther. Thank you. Transformational leaders are involved, they participate, contribute, and are ready to work. Yes. Who else? Feel free to unmute, raise your hand if you want to speak, or you use the chat box. We've been doing fantastic since we started. Don't go silent on me now. What is your role as a leader? How can you be transformational? And as a follower, because at times, we wear both hats. What is your role? I'm going to give us homework if we do not speak up.
I think maybe you can call them by names.
No.
We have some comments in the chat box.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Yes. Let me see. Ishala, you are defining. I'm saying what is our role as leaders going forward? What is our role? With everything that we know, what is your role as a transformational leader or as a follower? Thank you, Olanrewaju.
Ma'am, I have something
Be ready
to say.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, my role as a leader, I think first is to be the change I want to see in my environment, to be the change I want to see in others, and then also to create an enabling environment for people to thrive and also be to be transformed. And then as a follower, it would be to actively commit myself to people who have gone ahead and not see myself as a leader too. I'm not necessarily a follower because like I'm a leader even if I'm following someone. So if I don't have that sense of identity of being a leader, even while being a follower, my commitment would not be to pass. So if I should see myself as a leader while being a follower and then actively involve myself in everything that is ongoing in my community.
Thank you. Well, the thing is, we can't all be leaders.
Yeah, I meant self-leadership.
Yeah, yes, I got you, yeah. And also, I'm echoing what Kingsley said earlier about, start from where you are, start from self, start from your immediate environment, your community, and the world stage would come. All the people who've been transformational did not just go, as we say, didn't just blow. They started from where they were. They started from their community, moved to outside their community. That's where you start from where you are. Thank you, Salimat. I really like what you said. Practice what you preach. It's very simple. If you say that, as a leader, patronize Nigerian-made goods, do this, you have no business not patronizing Nigerian-made goods. I loved, what the past president, instituted, General Obasanjo, always in native, the Adires and the Ankaras. And we see the DG of the World Trade Organization, Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala. It's such an absolute delight, every time one sees her. Minus the gele, even though that is her signature, but I just love the way she embodies and she's not afraid. She's not ashamed, to project where she's from. That has, the Ankara skirt and blouse. Take it or leave it. If you like, cut out of picture, which is not possible. And it's really about, what's on the inside. But I really love the fact that, she really promotes her African, her Nigerian heritage. Olamide says, sharing in the vision of the leader by showing commitment. Yes. And Olanrewaju says, be ready to work for the corporation, in cooperation for the greater good. Excellent. And if we look at, I just started to type one or two things that, we all said. So what is one commitment you can make today that you're going to leave out for the rest of your life, especially as you are on that path, of transformational leadership or supporting transformational leaders that are around you? What is one commitment that you can make today? And that is something I would like you to, really ponder on and answer for yourself. I love this quote from Mandela. And we look around us, we look at Africa, our countries, and it appears as if, rather than, for some countries, rather than progressing, they seem to be, sleeping back even faster than they are progressing. But the thing is, Nigeria today, as we see it, and everybody's looking for change, we want things to be better and all of that, it seems impossible. And it always seems impossible until it is done. All it takes is not just for the transformational leader, you also need the people that will key into the vision and work together. Remember, one of the, the definitions that we talked about earlier is talking about change, being able to change and impact individuals and, the greater good and society. All right. So do we have any questions? I know that time is fast spent. I didn't think that I would use up the 90 minutes of Laronke, but here we are. So questions? Are there any questions? Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
I
I
think while we
agree
wait
with
for
you, Martins. Yeah.
okay, while we wait for questions, if there are any, leaders, please use the chat box if you have questions, and you can raise your hand if you want to speak. Um, Again, I would like to appreciate you, Ma, for taking time out to be with us tonight. For me, like I said earlier, it's been an amazing session. It's been amazing. The full 90 minutes has been packed from the very beginning. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you. From our leaders,
Thank you.
I see leaders joining in from Nigeria, different parts of Nigeria, Uganda, Russia, and Togo. We say thank you. We
Yes.
say thank you. We say thank you. Leaders, please use the chat box. Mrs. Adeyanju has been amazing. She's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Kingsley. And thank you
for
for the opportunity
being
to meet with
yes.
all those great people. Olaronke, special thanks to you. Are you based
Yes.
in Nigeria? I wanted to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry?
I am. I'm in Delta State, Nigeria.
Okay. Delta. Okay. Does Delta have a different timing than the rest of Nigeria? Because your emails come at certain hours, and I'm like, what is she doing up at this time? But thank you so much for the follow-up and you coordinating this extremely exemplary. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you all. Such a pleasure meeting you, meeting you. And I hope that, if you see me on the streets of Lagos or Osogbo, Ibadan, Kampala, Togo, or Russia, please stop me and say hi and introduce yourself. Thank you so much for a great evening. I really appreciate the time.
Ma, if
All
you
right.
want, any of us would like to connect, if our leaders would like to connect, where best can we connect with you? LinkedIn, Instagram?
LinkedIn is my primary abode. I will just put in my LinkedIn profile here in the chat box. And my Instagram handle as well. Instagram is, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe there are no questions. We'll be wrapping up for tonight. Olaronke, thank you very much for moderating this session. Thank you very much. Leaders, wherever you're joining in from, thank you very much.
Sorry, Kingsley. Shola wants some materials for personal development. What kind of materials are you asking for, Ishola? Ishola? You were asking for some materials for personal development. What kind of materials? Uh-oh, it looks like your connection. You can put it in the chat box so we can.
Probably he wants you to recommend. Okay, I think he's talking. All right.
Yeah, but his connection isn't so great.
I believe he's asking about leadership materials.
There's so many, so many, depends on, my mind is actually even blank right now to begin to look at different people. Yeah. Okay, I would actually recommend this, and I don't know why my mind went to this. Start with Why. I think this is a fantastic book by Simon Sinek. It just changes your perspective and outlook on things. Yeah. All right. Okay, in the absence of any other thing, I think we can call it a day. Yes, Kingsley?
Yes, we can, Ma. Do you have final words for us before we leave?
Final words.
It's a motherly blessing as a transformational leader.
we all want to create impact that lasts, you know, and leave a legacy. Just like, you know, the people in room 4 said, start with where you are. Start with where you are. Start with your family, your community, and expand, but start with where you are.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a lot. Okay, leaders, I believe that should be all for tonight. Thank you all again for joining in. Thank you, Ma, for gracing us with your time. We do not take it for granted at all. We deeply appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ishola, let's connect on LinkedIn and we will talk more about the question. Ishola Idowu, that is. He asked a question, but I've got to go now.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everyone, and God bless.
Yes, good night, Ma. Good night, everyone.
Good night.